The missing men. The question being posed in this presentation is, where have the prime-aged working men gone, and what are they doing with their time? I will also list examples of what they're using their time for, but also the different issues that are causing these men to drop out of the workforce. The first cause for these men to be missing from the workforce is pretty obvious, and that the first one is unemployment in general. These men of working age from 25 to 54 have a steady increase in unemployment across the board. The graph shown here is the percent of men aged 25 to 54 who are outside of the workforce, whether because they're not seeking a job or they are not employed. As you can see on the left, in January 1948, the unemployment rate for men was 3.3%, and it rose steadily, increasing over the years, and as of September 2016, that unemployment rate was 11.4%. I found this information from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Backtracking from the unemployment rates of these prime-aged working men, there are a few that are in the labor force, but in that of low-skilled labor or under-skilled labor, meaning that they're working jobs that they would otherwise not have, but because of the labor market are unable to find anything else. This low-skilled job labor market for these men is diminishing as the years progress, due mainly to globalization. Globalization contributes to a lack of jobs, whether that be because robots are taking them or just because those jobs are moving overseas. Now that I've touched on the unemployment rate, I wanted to describe a few instances that contribute to this unemployment rate. Firstly is workman's comp. 40% of the unemployed are a part of workman's comp, and of those 40%, 44% of them are on some sort of medication or painkillers in order to facilitate the pain that they deal with due to their job. The disability percentage mentioned in the previous slide has grown over time. From the years of 2003 to 2017, the amount of disability insurance policy forms that have been filed has increased by 30%. The chart shown here is the different proportions of males in the age group of 25 to 54 and what is the reason why they are unemployed. The main takeaway here is that the ill or disabled category is the highest, and it has risen from 2004 to 2014. I found this from the ASEC website. This data set is related to the one in the previous slide, but it goes into a little bit more detail about how education factors into unemployed disabled people. As you can see, as you go down in the numbers of less than a high school diploma to high school graduates to some college or college, the numbers are reduced in the people that are on disability overall. As touched on previously, there is a direct correlation between being on disability and using painkillers to relieve the pain. An increasing amount of working age men are becoming addicted to prescription drugs, and while on these medications are not able to work due to more than just their disability. Another issue I wanted to touch on that is in direct correlation to the men being out of the workforce is that of their leisure time increase. As these men are not working, they need to fill their time in some sort of alternate activity, and it is found in multiple studies that that has been an increase in leisure time. One of these leisure activities is that of video games. Prime-aged working men that are not working are found playing video games in an increasing amount. The video game industry grossed in 2010 $18.5 billion, and in 2017 it has grown to over $108 billion, which is about a 10 times increase to the amount of video games being purchased. The graph shown here is that of men's working hours from 2000 to 2015, broken up into two different age groups, the more severe one being men from 21 to 30, because this is a direct reference to the reduced work hours and the increase in video game hours logged. Video games aren't the only thing that can take up these unemployed men's time. There's anything from exercising to going to the movies alone or with friends to binge watch the next hot show on Netflix or to play recreational sports. There's many other categories involved, but these are probably some of the main ones that are taking up the men's time. The graph shown here is that of television hours logged per household. In 1950, it was around 4.5 hours, and now up in 2017, we're approaching 8 hours per day. This data set does not include streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, or Amazon Prime Video, so that numbers can be even higher if we were to include those. The graph shown here represents the different leisure activities that men spend in each day. And it's interesting to note that the purple bar represents the social aspect of leisure time and that it is being reduced as the years go on. This leads me to believe that men are spending less time outside with their friends or hanging out at bars and more time inside hanging out possibly by themselves. This increase in antisocial behavior could potentially be a reason why there is more men that are unemployed and that are single. An interesting note is that unemployed men are twice as likely to be single than that of an unemployed person that is a male. There's a cycle that I'm trying to depict here that these single unmarried men aren't in the workforce, and the ones that are actually make less than that of married men. They don't have the drive to provide for their family, and they don't have someone to compare themselves to, being that they're single. A study performed by the Pew Research Center asked both men and women what their very most important aspect of a counterpart would be, and the second category there, a steady job, was the most important to women at 78 compared to the other categories listed below. To conclude what I just went over is that the single, unemployed, prime-age men are falling out of the workforce at a steady pace. There's no end in sight in regards to these issues that these men are facing, and without proper support, they may not find that it's any easier in the coming years to find a job or to find a wife.